Hi everybody, this is Josh Kulp. We are learning Daf Shevui. We are on Masechet Kiddushin Daf Mem Daled. I want to wish everybody a Shana Tova. I hope that you will continue learning with us in the coming year, and then I hope that you continue to grow and find interest in your Talmudic studies. The daf that we're learning this week begins a series of debates about the case of a daughter who is married, or in this case betrothed. Later on we're going to read stories about girls who are married without their father's dot. And we can translate dot here as without their father's consent. I want to emphasize that this is not against their father's consent. For a minor girl cannot marry herself off. She needs her father's consent. Here's a case where we don't know whether her father consented to the marriage or not. I also want to point out we can't just ask the father, because let's say he says, oh no, I didn't consent to that. Well, maybe at the point of Kiddushin he did and he's changed his mind. Or vice versa. Maybe at the point of Kiddushin he didn't consent and now he wants there to be a Kiddushin. It really wasn't a valid marriage. So, as in with other fields of halakha, we can't just ask the father what he thinks. When it comes to somebody vowing, we can't just ask the person afterwards, what did you mean by the vow? Because what's important is not what they think they mean now, but what they meant at the time when they issued the vow. It's a common thing you'll see in other fields of halakha. So I want to clarify a little bit of what Shmuel's ruling. It's a little bit of a difficult sugya. Shmuel rules quite puzzlingly that she needs a get, a divorce document, and me'un, refusal. Now we'll start with why she needs a get. She needs a get lest the father did consent to the marriage and she's divorced and she's married. And therefore, if we want to end that marriage, she's going to need a get. I should note that if we want to continue the marriage and the father consents to the marriage, there's really no problem. The thorny issue is going to happen when one of the parties says, no, I don't want to be married. Either the father, perhaps the girl, or the husband. If everybody wants to continue with the marriage, worst case scenario, you just redo it, and that's not such a problem. The issue is when somebody doesn't want the marriage to exist, how does she get out of that marriage? So Shmuel, first of all, points out we need to get a regular divorce document, lest the father consented and she really was married. Now, the me'un, the refusal, is a little bit strange. Me'un is usually there for a case where the father was not alive and she's married off by her brother or her mother, some other way of marrying her off. She has a right of refusal when she hits majority age. She's old enough to make her own decisions. Now, here in this case, she seems to have consented to the marriage as well. We sort of already, otherwise there would be no issue over here. If she didn't consent and the father didn't consent, well, you can't marry women against their will. So she seems to have consented, but now we force her to refuse the marriage, which is a little strange. If the father didn't want the marriage, why do we need refusal? And if the father did want the marriage, well, we already have the get for that. So why does she need refusal? And the Gemara answers so that people do not say, right, Ein Kiddushin Tofsin Ba'achota, that Kiddushin are not valid with her sister. In other words, what people might think is since she got a get, she was married. And therefore, if the husband goes and now does Kiddushin with her sister, that Kiddushin is not going to be valid because you can't marry your wife's sister. Even after you've divorced your wife, you still can't marry her sister. However, this marriage may never have been valid. And therefore, we want to have a sign so that people know that if the husband, perchance, goes and does marriage with her sister, she too is going to need to get out of that marriage. She too is going to need a get. The bad ramifications would be if she thinks that that marriage isn't valid and she goes and marries another person and turns out that she would be an unwitting adulteress with all sorts of bad consequences for her and for her children. So mi'un is actually kind of a symbol to let people know that she really wasn't married. So a get is there to concretely get her out of the marriage if she was married, and mi'un is there to let people know that in reality she was not married to that person because we didn't know her father's, if her father gave consent. It's a little bit of a confusing sugya. There's going to be a lot more of this coming up. It's good, meaty Gemara. I hope you keep enjoying it. I hope you participate on our Daf Shevui Facebook page. And I hope you have a great year. It's been wonderful and a real zchut to be learning with you.